the business is not mine. Like, I truly, wholeheartedly believe that God gave me this, and I'm just blessed to be the one to carry it. So that keeps me inspired. Every time I wake up, I know there's still someone for me to reach. There's still something for me to do. There's still somewhere for me to go. So life keeps me inspired. Not all the time when we receive the ROI or the return of our investment immediately. We may not see what that looks like in real time. So just hope keeps me inspired, knowing that even if I don't see the sprout, I'm at least planting the seeds in good ground. And yeah, and anytime there's a need, like, I feel like we'll stop working when there stops being problems. There's always going to be a problem. So that keeps me inspired that there's still something for me to do, something for me to fix or to do my part in as well. Before someone asked me, can I answer the one question you asked for me? It was somewhere along the lines of what would we tell like parents or adults?
What advice do you have for parents or educators who want to encourage entrepreneurship in children and teens?
I will say this because I recently had to have this conversation with my mom. As an entrepreneur, I know we share the light in, financial freedom, creativity, all those things. But the reality is entrepreneurship is very inconsistent at times. You have to be consistent, but the work itself and the return has its ebbs and flows. And in those times where it's challenging, where money isn't flowing, where your contracts aren't coming like they used to be, where consumers or clients aren't reaching out like they used to, you need to go back to your why, and you need to have people around you that ground you in your why. And I say that to say, like, my mom is very traditional, meaning when we were in school, she was very much go to a state job, go get a job where you have good benefits, good health care, go to something that's sustainable. That's how she was taught. So when I came with the idea of entrepreneurship, she immediately shut it down. Where my dad is more, look, did God tell you to do it? If he said yeah, I ain't asking no questions, let's go do it. Like, that's him, like, but that was his vibe. So, but I will say, even though I had that from my dad, I wanted both of my parents to be on board. So when I was called this year, April 30th of this year, to leave my full-time job, so I was working as a development manager. I've been a nonprofit for almost a decade. I was a development manager for 2 years, and I felt called to leave cold turkey. I sent in my 2 weeks notice literally 2 weeks before I quit or resigned, and to go into full-time entrepreneurship, where this is what I'm doing, full-time. I didn't have a contract lined up. I didn't have a savings. I didn't have 3 to 6 months, bills saved up or stored up. I didn't have any of that. I had a knowing that God is calling me to do this, and I had faith to know that he's not going to leave me out here blindly. That's all I had. So when things started happening, I was getting blessed in the midst of it. So that's how I knew that I was on the right path. But in the seasons where things weren't happening, my mom would say things like, hey, you think you might need to go apply for a job, or think you need to might go see what the market looking like. And I had to tell her, I said, Mom, I know you're talking to me as a mother. And as a mother, you want to make sure that my livelihood is good. You want to make sure I have the money that I need to take care of my household. And I am a single income household. I live alone. So as a mom, she wanted to do her best to make sure I had what I needed financially. I told her, if I need you to take away Mom and just be my faith partner. I said, because my faith is not going to be up here all the time. So I need you to remind me of my why. I said, every time that I did try. I sent in applications and everything. I was, humbly speaking, very qualified for the jobs that I was applying to, and I would not get them. I wouldn't get a call back. I even had things like, you're overqualified. What does that even mean? Like, so God was constantly telling me, no, I already told you what to do. Like, I just need you to trust me. So him having that conversation with me, I needed the people to trust the God in me, to understand that this was bigger than all of us, but we have to trust together. So having that, I would say, parents, educators, if somebody comes to you with a dream, don't shut that dream down. It might not make sense. 1 plus 1 might not equal 2. It just might not. But give them that support that they need. Even if you don't believe it, at least believe it for them and give them that. Fake that until you make it, But because you never know what that discouragement could do to them. So that would be my advice.
Anyone else have any questions? No? You look like you got a question.
Nah.
You look like you want to raise your hand, but you got it down.
I'm just doing my job.
But he is an entrepreneur. You don't have no
Yes.
questions? I know you came here because, but
Right.
as an entrepreneur, it had to be something that, you know.
I'm just listening, I'm taking everything in. That's all.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I'm very impressed. You know, I'm just taking everything in. And might use it to my business. So.
Right. Okay. So what are the proper channels to do as far as an entrepreneur? What are the proper channels besides finding, like you said, a mentor or someone to support you? What are the proper channels?
Structure your business properly. And when I say structure your business properly, meaning if you're a nonprofit, there's a process to get your 501c3, both state and federally. If you're an LLC, there's a process for that as well, sole proprietorship, and know the difference from a tax standpoint. And that is something that please do not ask me, because that's not my specialization, but I have some people that you can go to that will listen to your goals and where your financial expectations are and projections are, and then help you properly set yourself up. So I would say that's the first thing, to get legal or on paper, because you're gonna need your business license, an active business license. Right, you're gonna need insurance, active insurance. You know, so I have that paperwork. Good would be the next channel.
Well, I have a question, I have a comment. I like what you said about even if you don't have everything in place, just start. Because when I started my nonprofit, what my hesitancy in the beginning was I didn't have this in place, or I didn't have that in place. And then people would be like, you're not ready yet, you know, don't do it. And one day I was just sitting in a room and I had written all this stuff. I knew what my vision was, right? Like I had the vision, I knew what I wanted to do. I was sitting in the room and I said, man, I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm just gonna step out there and I'm gonna do it and let God take it from there, right? And that's what I did. I sat down, I talked to a lawyer, I got everything in place that I needed to have in place, and I just stepped out there. And in the beginning, it was tough. It just, in the beginning, I would have those moments where I was like, man, is this the right time? I don't know if I should have just stepped out here. It's hard. Because in Delaware, and being in the behavioral health field, in Delaware, a lot of it is who you know.
Yes.
Right? And that makes it difficult when you just starting out, and especially when you small, it's difficult to navigate because you don't have these partnerships, these relationships, and you got to really build. It took me 2 years to get my first contract, and because I had to go, I had to show up everywhere, and I would just have flyers and brochures, and I'll just be handing them out and talking to people and just talking. And sometimes you just have to just go. If you know what your vision is, you believe in your vision, just go with it. Right, and the God will take you where you need to go, and just get out of your own way. So, and I like that. It's just you don't have to have everything perfect and ready right now. That will come because you're going to end up connecting with the right people, and that's what I did. And and it just took me one person. I happened to do a conference, and one person heard me out of the 400 people there. One person heard me and reached out to me a month later and said, hey, I want to offer you a contract to do this. And I was like, oh, man. And it just kept going from there, right? So I love that. You don't need everything perfect. And I tell people, man, just do it. Just do it. Don't put your vision in the hands of somebody else. You know what you want to do. Just jump out there and do it, and you'll be surprised. If you have faith and you got patience, it'll happen. And it's a lot of hard work. If you're afraid of hard work, don't do it. But because it's a lot of hard work, and you have to keep putting yourself out there. I've heard more no's than I heard yeses, but it only took that one to get everything going, right? So I love that. I love that. You don't have to be ready. Just do it.
No, I'll just add. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I would say I just was making a little comment. I commend each and every one of y'all that stepped out on faith. But I'm like your mom. I needed 9 to 5. I need a paycheck every week.
Oh, I got a 9 to 5.
I don't trust us sometimes. They don't want to pay. I need that 9 to 5.
To your point, that's why I say entrepreneurship is truly something that you have to feel called to do. And there's phases. Sometimes it's having the 9 to 5 and your business on the side. Sometimes, I would say, when people say you're not ready, you're not, but you are. Everything, how I try to think, every space that I'm in, I'm a sponge. I'm supposed to learn something. For whatever reason, I didn't stay at jobs long, maybe 2 years. And what I learned now, in retrospect, is I learned what I needed to learn there, then I need to move on. Then I developed a new skill, learned what I needed to do there, then I moved on. So I was constantly absorbing everything I would need for this day and time where I am running my own business. I was a development manager. I was a program manager. I worked in compliance and ordinance. I worked in contracts. So everything that I needed logistically and internally, I have had those roles in the past. And to my point earlier about putting yourself out there, and I know you said 2 years. Understand sometimes we're the exception. And I say that respectfully, not to my power, but to God's power. When I started my business, it was 4 months before a global pandemic where your Fortune 500s, your mom and pop, shops were literally shutting down because they couldn't financially withstand the pandemic or pandemic hardships. I tripled my income in the middle of a pandemic by one decision. I decided to have a march in Milford, Delaware, to bring awareness to police brutality, to injustices that was happening. Someone saw that a young girl was able to bring over 500 people to a small town who's very conservative and very diverse people at that. No drama. Mayor walked with us, police chief walked with us. They actually shut down the streets themselves, did things beyond. Giant opened up their parking lot to us. How did this one girl do all of that? They contracted me to bring community engagement down in Sussex County because they were having a hard time engaging those folks. One decision. And I just wanted to get involved and do my part. That was it. So also, when I was out of college, I was volunteering for spaces. I was organizations that I wanted, whether it was my field is social justice and mental health. So I started volunteering in those spaces. The same organizations that I was volunteering for became my clients now, just because I was putting in the work. I always say, I know we talk about politics. Your campaign, you don't have to be a politician to have a campaign. Your campaign doesn't start during election season. It starts in the community. You should be in the community doing your work, making the connections, talking to the people, collecting the resources, and then those opportunities present themselves. So, another thing, we got our nonprofit status January 23rd of this year, received the letter in March. Mind you, this is also time where nonprofits are merging, shutting down, pivoting. I'm a very vocal mental health and social justice organization who is able to pull in over 6 diverse forms of funding through contracts, state, federal, grants, foundation grants. To have someone call me and say, hey, I just want to give you some money. I heard you out on your own. I know the work that you're doing. My point is, when you're called, that's why I say you have to be called. Anybody can. Jamila Mustafa said this, good things come to those who wait, great things come to those who work. Anybody can, the Bible says many are called, few are chosen. Anybody can do entrepreneurship, but when you're called, it doesn't matter what global things are going on, it doesn't matter what local and national things are going on, you are the exception where God will sustain you and protect you even amidst all of those things. That's why I said when people invite me to come talk about entrepreneurship, I don't know if they want me to talk, because I'm not giving you your textbook definition, because I truly, truly believe that my steps were ordered by the Lord, and that's why I'm able to be as successful as I am, depending on who you're asking.
That's awesome.
Yes. So Jalyn, just tell us a little bit, give you a little bit of background.
Sure. So my name is Jalyn Powell. I'm the CEO and founder of Out Loud DE is our nonprofit where we do youth programming that focuses on mental health and wellness, education and advocacy, and then social justice. So healing is a form of resistance. So we focus on trauma and how that shows up. And then we don't take the place of the Brandies in the world, but we do work alongside of them to do your non-traditional or unconventional pathways to wellness. We host skate to wellness in the skating rinks across the state of Delaware. We have paint nights. We have bi-monthly meetings where men will meet with amongst each other, and then women will meet amongst them, each other. Javon has been one of our speakers for some of our sessions and has attended. And then on the consultant side, what we do is we help nonprofits get funding. So we are strategic storytellers where we work everything from proposal to final report. And a lot of organizations who don't have the experience writing grants or having a hard time pivoting this climate, we help them navigate that process so they're still able to secure funding. A little bit about me personally. Went to Delaware State University, got my bachelor's in poli-sci. I went to Regent and got an advanced track master's in law, and then I'm a doctoral candidate for transformative social change at Saybrook, where I'm studying how historical and generational trauma shows up in Black people, Black women specifically, focusing on high functioning anxiety and depression.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Well, we thank Miss Jalyn Powell.
No, take care of the
Right. Amen. That is awesome. Yes, information, make sure.
Yes.
All right, and then our last panelists are financial literacy, and that is Miss Javon Oliver and
JJ, it's JJ.
JJ.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, y'all can come forward. Okay, so the panelists before us, they just have ideas to determine the dialogue with the audience and choosing an area which you want to speak on, so that myself can give the questions and then they give the answers. So the introduction to this is financial literacy is a cornerstone of personal and professional success in the modern world. As financial systems and products become more complex, it is vital for individuals to possess the knowledge and skills to make informed decisions about learning, spending, saving, investing, and protecting assets. When hosting a panel on financial literacy, the quality and depth of questions addressed to panelists can shape the discussion, inform the audience, and inspire positive action. So below there are going to be some questions that I'm going to ask, and it's from diverse backgrounds in finance and education. They're suitable for the panels. I did shorten it. Sorry. So the first question is how do you define financial literacy, and why is it important than ever in today's economic climate? Ms. Yvonne.
I define financial literacy as empowerment. And I say that because I'm a financial center manager at Fulton and Millsboro. And so each day I get the pleasure to go to work and help people, right? And so it's empowering. To understand money is empowering all by itself. To understand how to budget, where does my money go? How do I save my money is empowering. And so once you learn how to become empowered with your money, it just helps make better decisions in your life, in your neighborhood, in your communities. I think right now we all can understand that the climate now with higher egg prices, everything is higher, uncertainty of health insurance. So all of that plays a part in understanding the basics, right? And unfortunately, they don't do financial literacy in schools anymore. So we're not teaching the small ones. And so they have to rely on behaviors of what they've seen and how they've seen other people spend money. So I think it's just knowing the basics, right? Like financial literacy sounds real important, real high. It's really not. It's about saving, and it's about knowing where my money goes. It's being able to distinguish my want from my need, and understanding how to better spend it all.
So, JJ, I have a question for you. What practical strategies do you recommend for individuals and families to create and maintain a budget?
The first thing is analyzing your finances. One of the things that I did before I transitioned out of the branch into lending is doing a review of pull your statements. I tell people all the time, pull your bank account statements, because a lot of times with debit cards, all these electronic transactions, we don't see where it's going. We just tap my phone, I tap my card, I'm moving on. But if you actually pull your statements and you look through that month, what I actually spent my money on, you start there. Once you can figure out where the bulk of your money is going, for me it's always but I do indeed like to eat, like Jalyn. And so once you understand where your money is going, then you can set up a budget. I always tell people, there are so many free templates, worksheets online. Use one of those and say, okay, I know this is how much I bring home. Not what they tell you made, that's after taxes, health insurance, what you brought home each month. This is what I brought home. How can I use that money more wisely? If you have children, like myself, I'm a single parent. So because I'm a single parent, the bulk of my money, I'm like, okay, I have daycare, I have other things, my kids want to do extracurriculars. How can I make my money work for me? Instead of me just trying to like, oh, I'm just going to pull at strings. So it's knowing. A lot of people don't, like she said, financial literacy is really simple. But if you don't know where it's going, you can't save it. Because it's not there because it's already left your account. So I encourage families and even couples, married couples, sit down, talk about your finances. One of the biggest challenges in branches when you talk to people is one spouse may pass away and the other one has no idea what's going on. And that should never be the case. You guys should sit down and talk about your finances, talk about what's going on, what I'm spending on, what we need, what we don't need, where we can cut corners, and where we can kind of do things. And also with budgets, I always tell people, have fun. Do not use all your money to save and have bills and you will start to become angry and have all this anxiety. Have your little pot. Every time I get paid, I have a little pot where I'm like, this is what I'm getting this time. Whether that's something that I want to eat, somewhere I want to go, I have a little fun money so that I don't feel like all my money is going just to bills or to other things.
Okay. All right, another question. This is about credit and debit management. Why is understanding credit scores and reports essential for financial health?
Credit reports, reading a credit report is one of the biggest things you can understand. Because credit is not as hard as people make it out to be. And your credit report, although when you originally look at it, can be a little like, I don't know what all these numbers mean, I don't know what this letter means, I don't know what that means, but understanding what credit can do, understanding mixtures of credit, understanding the power of credit. Credit is not bad. Credit cards are not bad. Loans are not bad. It's how you use them. It's how you utilize these resources. So when you come in to see someone like Javon and you're like, hey, I need to buy a car. I want to, you know what I mean? I want to do these things, understanding what that looks like, being able to read your credit report, knowing what hits your credit report. I'm a big advocate and I have alerts. So what I do is I have free alerts through Experian. Experian alerts me every time something hits my credit report, every time my credit score changes. I keep that as a back burner of, okay, I need to pay attention. So every month I'm like, okay, let me go look at it, make sure nothing is changed, everything, and making sure things are reporting correctly. Because sometimes everybody makes mistakes, whether that be a financial institution, something else, they make mistakes and now you're 60 days behind on your mortgage and you knew you paid it, but you never paid attention to your credit report. You never got those alerts. And also understanding that everything isn't for everybody at that time. Everybody talks about home ownership. I used to be a mortgage loan officer. Everybody's like, oh, go buy a house, go buy a house. Do not buy a house if you cannot buy a couch. Don't buy a house if you can't put food in the refrigerator in this house. I tell people, I had to tell so many people, no, not right now, because I would love to put you in a house, but that's all you will have. There's carpet, windows, floors, doors. That is all you will have. And if you would like to enjoy your house and be able to sit there and you're not calculating each month, oh, if I pay my mortgage, I gotta eat oodles and noodles. If I pay my mortgage, I can't go do this. So understanding how to structure your debt, structure your loans. I structured my mortgage to the point where I started less than 80% LTV. I bought my house, I kept my house in the family, I bought my house for my dad. I also am currently sitting on $60,000 worth of equity. I've only had my house for 3 years because of the way that I structured my mortgage, the way that I buy cars, all of that. So it's just understanding credit. And if you don't understand, sit down with someone and say, okay, I'm not understanding my credit report. I don't know what's on there. You don't know how many people. I talked to a young man one time in the branch and he was like, yeah, I have a couple students. I said, are you aware of how much you have in student loans. He was like, oh, it's not that bad. I said, you have over $100,000 in student loans. And he didn't know it was that bad because he's at school and he's just signing the papers. And they're telling him, oh, just sign, get your classes, sign these papers. Get your classes, sign these papers. And by the time it was all said and done, he's $150,000 in debt. I had a lady bought a house, and once you buy a house, everybody wants to give you credit cards. Everybody, when she was talking about holiday season, everybody wants to give you stuff. This lady was like, well, they were just telling me I could get it. 17 credit cards. Why do you have 17 credit cards? So I'm like, we're gonna start closing this. Oh, don't close them. You're gonna make, nope. We're gonna close some of these. You're gonna be all right. We're gonna close some of these today. So that it's just understanding how credit works and taking that time. And I'm really passionate about sitting one-on-one with individuals, even though I work more in the commercial side now with businesses, but it's taking time to just, hey, let me sit down and look at it with you. And let's figure out what we can do to make this better for you. Even preparing for retirement, preparing for those things, you can't just jump into retirement. Let's see how we can get your cars paid off, your house paid off, doing all of those things so that when you ease into retirement, if Medicaid changes, if SSI changes, all that, hey, you know what? I'm good because I've paid all these things off and I have a budget and I'm stable and I know what my credit score looks like.
Investing fundamentals. What basic investing principles should everyone understand regardless of income or background?
Again, investing is huge, and it doesn't have to mean that you jump into the stock market overnight. Like today, I'm going to buy stocks, and that's what I'm going to do. It's understanding what investments work for your pockets. So for me, it started with my 401k, and then it was me sitting down with the people who hold my 401k and understanding where to put that money, and that's my investment. My 401k, I moved it, and I got myself fully vested, and now that's sitting there. And I can move it to where I work now and continue to grow. But it's because I'm not an investor and I don't know a ton about that area, but what it is utilizing those resources. When you get employed and they tell you they have a 401k at your job or they have something that you can, or a pension that you're paying into, understand what that program looks like. Understand how to move your money around to make it grow. Understand your investment, because you have to be at a job for so long before you can take all of that money with you. Because if you leave before a certain time, you're saying, oh, I got $60,000 here, and then you move it and it's only 30, and you're trying to figure out where the company keeps that money, and some people don't understand that. So understanding your investment opportunities, getting on, and YouTube is really good for some things, for investing and figuring out, okay, if I buy some Apple stock now while it's low, how do I then sell it? Learning the stock market, learning what the economy is doing, learning that there are ebbs and flows. Yes, eggs are expensive, but what can I do in the interim? They're not going to get cheaper, so I got to do something else, and that's investing your money and putting your money into sources, and then save your money. Everything doesn't need to go into some giant investment. Look for high yield savings accounts. Look for CDs. Because a lot of times banks will have specials, especially during the holiday seasons. They'll do a 6-month CD with 2% return. Let me go throw $5,000 in there, let that grow for 6 months. Since I haven't touched it and I'm not missing it, let me move it to something else. It's a little long term. And then you can continue to build wealth from there. So look for those things that, hey, it may not be like stocks, but my certificate of deposit is doing really well. And now I've saved $15,000 with a high yield savings account or something like that, and understanding where to move that money and keeping your account separate. I'm a big proponent of high yield savings accounts. And I'm a big proponent in investing. When you invest and you're looking at savings, is having separate accounts. I mean at two separate financial institutions. There are money that I save in one place that I have no cards to, and there's another that's my active one. Because if I have access to all this money, I'm going to use it. You're going to find some reason to spend that money.
One of the things I could just add is that when we think about if your employer has where they match your 401k, that's a great opportunity. So if you put in 1%, they match another 1%, take advantage of that. That's almost easy. I don't want to say free money, nothing's ever free, but take advantage of that match that they have, right? That's just another way to do it. And one of the things that that I've had the opportunity to share information with is sometimes if your employer, if you get a raise, you get a bonus, right? The initial innate thing is let me go buy something. Put it in a high yield, like right now Fulton has a 4-month CD. There you go, 4 months. 4 months, and it's gonna be APY is 4 something. So there's an opportunity right there. You can take that raise and now invest it where it can save you more money versus the innate of the difference between wanting something and having the opportunity to save for the future.
So with the CDs, can you, like if I want to do one for my grandkids, am I able to do that?
You can. Are you speaking of titling it, or are you speaking of just want to go get a 4-month CD? So you can go into the branch and say, I want a 4-month CD. Now sometimes for a higher yield, they're going to ask for a higher deposit,
Okay.
right? So sometimes the higher the yield, the higher the deposit's going to be. Sometimes it can either range from $5,000 to $10,000. We have some that start at $1,000.
Okay.
And also when JJ was talking about different financial institutions, some will give you a higher rate, but they call it new money.
Okay.
So new money says it's coming from somewhere else. So if I have my accounts at Fulton and I want to go to M&T, they're gonna say we want new money. That means it's money coming from somewhere else, not money that you already have in an account there with them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just a term for new money.
So question for barriers to financial literacy. Are there systemic barriers that prevent certain groups from assessing financial education, and how can these be addressed?
Absolutely. So I think Khalil or Brandy, someone started early. You got to meet people where they are, right? So and that could be for various reasons. And so I get the opportunity, and I often talk about it, of living out my dash, right? There's a poem by Linda Ellis. It's called The Dash. So we all have a born date, and then we all have a date, because this earth is temporary. And so what do you do with that dash in between? And so the opportunity that I have as a financial center manager is I have the opportunity to go to things just as this event right here, where I get to talk about it. Where you go to schools, because not all schools are sharing financial literacy to the level that we may have gotten a few dollars and cents when we were in school. So going to churches, going to those places, because oftentimes technology's changed. Most of the youth now don't go into a bank and make out a deposit slip. They do it from their phone, right? Mobile banking. They deposit their checks from a phone now. Or they stop to an ATM. So meeting people where they are. So going to the schools, and I just sat and took a lot of notes when Khalil was speaking of like, what opportunity do we have to take financial literacy and partner with him to help those that have been away for 5 or 10 or 20 years, to help them re-engage them with understanding what does it look like to open up a checking account? What's the difference between a checking and a savings account? What's a CD, right? We say some might not even know what a CD is, a certificate of deposit. Okay. And so those are the barriers that you have to break down one event at a time, one conversation at a time. And Fulton Forward has, so not only do I get to personally do it, but as a representation of Fulton Bank, I have the opportunity to put our Fulton Forward. It's an initiative that Fulton has, where we have 4 pillars. And so it's affordable housing and home ownership. It's workforce development and job training, financial education, and just the inclusiveness of bringing everybody together. Because, once you are mentally well, financially well, and the family's well, then communities, neighborhoods just runs much smoother.
I also wanted to add that also these barriers start at home. So it's our job as adults and as parents to learn financial literacy and start our kids early on the value of a dollar and the value of money. Because when you don't, and I can say that because that's something that my parents did. When my parents made large financial decisions, although I didn't have a say, I was included. My parents went through a time where they paid all their credit cards off. My dad would do bills every month, and he would sit me down with him and say, this is how I pay bills. This is how I was writing checks at 10. I can write out a check in 10. I was going, you know, my mom would say, write me a check, I'll come sign it. Just go grab a checkbook, you can write it out. I could write out checks. I could do all of that because my parents sat down with me and explained and in our community, we gotta stop. Sometimes it's parents who don't want our kids to suffer because of some things that we've been through, so we just do. I'm gonna just do for you so you know. But part of that is saying, hey, I don't got it, and this is why. And this is why we're not doing it, because we can't keep spending, like I told my daughter, no to a football game. Great, it's fantastic. But $6 adds up if we going every week.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? You wanna go, you wanna bring a friend, you wanna bring your sister. Listen, money does not fall from the sky for me. I work very hard every week to make sure that we live the life that we live. So understanding that starts in the home. And just like Khalil was saying, everything starts with our kids and with us talking. And what Brady said, talking, having those conversations, like, how are you doing? Mom, I want to do this. Okay, you do want Jordans, and that is fantastic. I love that for you. But how much do Jordans cost? And while we're out here buying Jordans, what could you get with this $150 that I'm about to drop on sneakers? What else could we get? So I budget my kids, even for school clothes. You got $75. You better make it work. And that's what I tell them. Like, this is your budget. You got to make it work. I don't talk to them about what they're getting. They have parameters, but this is your budget. Make it work. And creating those habits helps them understand. All right, I want all of these things, but I could get more if I spend money over here and do these things.
So the next question is technology and financial literacy. How is technology changing the landscape of personal finances, and what does this mean for financial literacy education?
It's changing it. I think it has pros and cons. Just personal experience just as yesterday. So again, you now can take your check and deposit it into the ATM machine. That's good, that's great. If you make sure you put your 2 zeros, if your check is $674 and a customer did $6.74. So we have this conversation of, now how does it work, right? So it was good if he was able to put $674, but he put $6.74. So it's not automatic that I can go in the ATM machine and get it for him. So that's a con. But also technology allows you to put alerts, like JJ said. It can give you alerts, you're below this balance, you've had this many transactions. The other piece of technology that we have to be careful about is online shopping. Right? So everybody loves to shop online, it's convenient, right? Bezos got a gold mine, right? Amazon's a gold mine. But you also have to be careful and understand, am I using my debit card when I'm online shopping? Or am I using a credit card? So if you're using a debit card, and a lot of times when you go online and you type in Macy's, the very first Macy's you see probably is not Macy's. So you probably got to scroll a couple down to get the true Macy's. But for those that don't, click Macy's, nice pair of boots, use my debit card, that's not Macy's. So now the funds that you need for your everyday living are tied up until we get through the process of the banking to get you provisional credit or to understand that it was fraud and to be able to reclaim the funds. So it's always a good suggestion, and I always say, have a credit card. Doesn't have to have a large limit, but just have a credit card that you use. So if you should click on the wrong Macy's, then it's those funds that you're waiting to be replenished and not your everyday living that you have. JJ talked about budgeting. There's a ton of great apps for budgeting. Another kind of con to having the technology is you have the Cash App, you have Chimes, and those are great and serves purposes, but you should always encourage everyone to establish a relationship with a bank. Right? Establish that relationship. Get the checking account, get the savings account. They can help you with savings. They can help you succeed when you go to look for a loan. They can help you understand what it takes to get a mortgage. All of those things you wanna do it established, because Cash App comes with price, but it doesn't allow you to totally understand financial literacy, right? It doesn't totally give you the full picture of having a checking account, of having a savings account, knowing the difference. Plus, it's super easy to use and lose track of it with that technology piece. So I think those are some of the barriers with technology, but also some of the good things that come with technology, right? Now most banking applications have it that if you misplace the card, because we all have that panic moment, where's my card? That we can lock it. Now we can go in and lock it until we find it, that it was left in a pocket or a coat pocket. We can do that. If we're traveling, it now allows us to notify the bank on our app that we're traveling. So if they see that you're in Texas, like, that's unusual activity. So there's some really great things with technology. And when we think about the younger generation, they don't have the traditional going to the bank. It's all, I can open my account online. Those are all the things you can do online now. There's several banks that are just online only banks. You're not able to go in person.
So, and I also say with technology and social media, a lot of people, please don't go to TikTok University for financial literacy, because I've had a ton of people tell me, oh, no, I could do that. Like, and I'm like, no, you can't. So with social media, just take it in strides, and also be careful what you post on social media, because what you don't realize is that there's so much, like, you're sitting there buying coffee, you laid your card on the table, your coffee cup, I'm gonna take a picture of my coffee. Your card is still sitting there. Now I'm just expanding it. I got your card number. I don't really need much else to kind of make it work for me. So be conscious of what you're posting, conscious of what you do. Like, certain things just attract fraud. So you have to be careful of what you post, what you're doing. If you're always going on elaborate trips and you just do, somebody gonna find you. So you have to be, conscious of that. And building a relationship with the bank is not only important for an individual, but if you are a business owner and you do not have a relationship with the financial institution that holds your commercial account, you need to do that immediately. Make sure you're sitting down. You know who the commercial loan officers are. You know who your commercial bankers are. You know what products they offer. Because as an entrepreneur, it's harder for me to show you that I can make money. I know what I'm doing. I know what this is going to work. But a lot of banks work in black and white. Well, you're not making no money, but I can tell you. But if I had a relationship with you and I come to you and I sit down, oh, I know you're a good person. You know what I mean? I know you've been working on this. You have great ideas. Now I can do that lending that I need and get the support that I need, because like you said, Jalyn, sometimes the funding isn't there and you need a loan, or you need some support from a financial institution, and building those relationships, whether it be individual or as a business owner, is very important.
How can we make financial literacy more engaging and accessible to people who may not seek it out on their own?
Making it fun and not making money scary. Money's not scary. It's a fantastic thing. But when people are afraid, that when you live in a poverty mindset, so a lot of times in these communities, this is all we have. So I gotta hold on to it. And showing people that there's freedom. Not that you have to have millions of dollars to achieve that freedom, but that the money that you have, there's so much freedom in that. And teaching people the freedom of having that, and that you can do whatever you would like, but let's grow and understand it and make it fun. Money doesn't have to be like something weird sitting up at night about and things like that. Things will go wrong. You will have to spend money. You will have down times and up times, but I think just making financial literacy fun.
I think it's just taking financial literacy to the people. I think that's it. It's just taking it to the people, right? And then starting with the little ones. I think that's the greatest opportunity, is starting with the little ones. I mean, with social media being as it is, and they see all the things of the money, the cash, the cars, the jewelry. I think sometimes they think, oh, well, that's what money, right? Like when you go to the TikToks and the Facebook, you don't necessarily see the businesses or the houses or the homes, right? You see the jewelry and some of the other things that I think sometimes may skew what really financial literacy can be.
I want to speak because the thing about celebrity status, sometimes when they're getting started, they're using money they don't really have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't,
That's true.
and you know,
Yeah.
it influences the young minds because it's really not as cut and dry as they see it.
Right.
And why aren't you seeing the homes? Because most likely they don't got one. So what it is a facade, because what you're doing is you want people to think that you have something that you don't have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unfortunately, people run after that. Cause look how, I mean, like I lived in Atlanta for 10 years, and anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 people move to Atlanta a month. So it's not like they're coming because they already have the success. They're running after something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it is more to it than just I can sing, I can act. Because I've seen models, I've seen actresses, I've seen those celebrities. They working hard to be where they are. And it's not as easy as people think. It's just not. I mean, it's a cliquish city, and I know. I mean, I won ATL's Hottest Makeup Artist in 2022, but I was nominated 2 times prior to that. I mean, it was hard because I had to get in the clique. I had a clique person, you know what I'm saying? So again, you have to change your mind, like when she was saying, you know, she's around people because that's what she has to do. But then once you leave, so it's like I had to get out of that mindset. Like I ain't being nobody clique, you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah. It's crazy with this money thing and what the young folks are running after, and they'll run after that, but they won't really put the hard work in to make something of their own.
People don't understand with celebrities too. A lot of stuff they get is for free or is for promotion.
Right.
So you put somebody on the red carpet in Versace, you notice every time somebody, you know, they're walking, hey, what are you wearing? What are you doing? It's a promotional. They take that stuff off and they gotta get that stuff
Give it
back.
back.
It's not going. It's not going. Them shoes ain't going in the little boxes back in their closet. It's for me to go out. A lot of times with these influencers, so YouTube stars, so they're not like your actors, singers, but they're YouTubers, and they're given stuff, boxes, promotional items, so that they can say, hey, look at, you know, makeup for example. Look at this promotional box that I got. It has all this stuff, but what they don't realize, this mascara is $20-something. Now I can help you out because the mascara is $4 and it works just as well. I can find you something if you need it.
Yeah.
But that's a part of knowing what and knowing yourself and knowing what's out there. So if there's things that you like, research. Hey, I do like to do my face every once in a while, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not spending an arm and a leg, but how can I go to Ulta or how can I go to Target or something like that and put some stuff together that makes me, okay, I look good, and people are like, oh, you look, yes, I know. $10, let me tell you. I can make it work. So that's what I tell people, you don't have to spend an absorbent amount. I am not big on labels. My kids tell me all the time, people like, do you own any shoes that got, no, I don't. I don't own any shoes that got labels on it. Every once in a while I like pop up, but I'm just not into that. And as a culture, as black people, we have to get out of this label mindset. Like, oh, everything gotta be a label. Everything gotta, no. Listen, I look just as cute.
Come on now, bring that price.
Just as nice.
Yeah.
And my whole outfit could have cost me $25 tops, right? But it's how you put yourself together. Like you were saying with young ladies, it's how you put yourself together. I can teach you how to put yourself together with less money. My mom used to, and people used to make fun of me. My mom used to dress me and I'd be all cute, thinking I'm in a full suit in church, full suit. Down here, like with the little shoes. But my mom taught me how to dress so that I knew, like, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg, but I still look nice. And that's that poverty mindset too, that I gotta look the part, but I don't really have the money.
Right.
Just to rebuttal that, I will say females can do that. Man, we can't do that all the time.
That's what
I ain't on Walmart.
I'm telling you that you can. And I'm only saying that because I am the only girl. I have 4 brothers and my dad. And let me tell you, I can get you, listen, guys, listen, you stick with me. I can get you some places. I can get you some ties, some shirts.
Me too.
I can listen.
See,
I can get you some
about name brand. I can't do that.
But I'm telling you,
No,
you're
no,
right. And then it's also about
I need
pieces.
Timberland, not Tim.
That's what he said.
But also it's about pieces. So sometimes we invest in a piece. So I might invest in a nice shirt, nice button down shirt. So I'll get you one better. You invest in a nice pair of pants, nice shirt. Tie, maybe not be as expensive, and we put you together with a jacket. You look just as nice, but you got pieces. Now I can take these pieces and I can put it with another jacket, shirt and tie. I can take these shoes and I can move them around. So sometimes it's about pieces. Sometimes it's about little things that you can change. Same thing with home decor. It's about pieces. I can get a nice piece of art. I can put that on the wall, but my couch, I might have. Listen, I'm gonna bargain with you. Don't go shopping with me. I'm not the one. If you want to spend money, don't go shopping with me. Because I would tell you, I'm not paying that. So it's about those things that make it look nice, but you don't have to spend a bunch of money to do it. I'm big on, and I coupon. Let me tell you.
I have a coworker who always, she says it all the time. She thinks, she says, you never wear the same thing twice. Oh, yes, I do.
You get a piece of gas.
Interchange it.
Listen, you'd be surprised.
A guy told me that in church. He said, "Man, you think I don't like man, fly."
Yeah.
It be the jacket be different,
Yeah.
but the different pair of pants. So you don't even take the shirt up. But Steve Harvey got this thing out where he said you can buy 5 suits.
Yeah.
You make it 70 suits or something like that.
Women can do it too.
Maroon, neutral color, and then you just switch everything.
Switch it all up.
Jacket,
Yeah.
there you go. I'm telling you, there are ways to save money where you don't feel like I'm in the out crowd, or I don't look as nice, or I don't, for me, it's like, okay, if I have somewhere to go, I budget for those things. I don't just go and say, okay, if I know I got a gala, I know I got to buy a dress. Now, certain instances for me, I don't wear the same thing twice to major events, just because there's pictures.
Right.
Or those.
Somebody see you. Somebody see me.
So I might have to switch it up.
Do my social media.
Budget for those things that you want. You know that Louis Vuitton is dropping a bag that you really want. Budget for it. What can I save till I get here? Or if there's a pair of shoes, if it be Jordans or a nice pair of dress shoes that you want, budget for those things. Doesn't mean that you can't have them. Doesn't mean, but if you don't go out of your way to just, I'm gonna spend money so I look nice. You can budget your outfits. I budget for seasons. We go to school. We got Christmas. And I've learned to make things even for my kids with Christmas. My kids, you look under my tree, we ain't out here like Oprah giving gifts. You get a gift.